So,
not something I hadn't thought about anyone going into my personal like emails or whatever and hacking me.
Yeah.
It's more about me giving the information to the third
Yes.
party and them being hacked.
and it's both.
Hi, it's Beck, and thank you for joining us for another episode of Table Talk, where we give short answers to tall topics. And today, Simon Creek, the Executive Chairman of HHG Legal Group, joins me. How are you doing, Simon?
I'm very well. Very well. Nice to be here.
Now, what are you bringing to the table today?
You always set me tough challenges. I love it. But how we convert everybody's current and really understandable fear over cybersecurity, how we condense it, how we summarise it, and how hopefully I can provide some practical legal and business and general guidance too. That's a bit of a challenge.
I bet.
As I say, I love a challenge.
It is at the forefront of our minds at the moment, of course, because there have been a lot of data leaks and hacks into big companies that are generally trustworthy. I know that this kind of also, if a company is hacked, it kind of affects the trustworthiness from the consumer,
Reputation.
so their reputation does get damaged. Now, are these data leaks and hacks, are they just the beginning? Do you think there'll be more?
Well, I think that's the question, the number one question on all our minds. And, you know, I turned to the Australian Institute of Company Directors and a lot of the research they've just published yesterday, actually. And look, if this is a guide, then the simple answer to your question is yes, because it's the number one question keeping business owners and CEOs awake at the moment, like number one. And the stats themselves from the Australian Cybersecurity Centre, they're not encouraging. I mean, a 13% increase year on year,
Wow.
but big spikes during crises like COVID, and more recently, as our interchange with China has become heated. We'll come into that a bit more, but it looks like the prevalence of out-of-country cybersecurity attacks has gone through the roof.
So what's changed? Has our security gone downhill? Have they got smarter? Like, what's changed to bring the increase?
I'm not an IT expert, so I'm a bit hesitant to answer that one. I will say that regardless of whether or not our tech in our businesses, churches, the government, all of it, no matter how good it is today, it's usually outdated within weeks at that level.
It's true.
And so that's why I'm glad to see our Prime Minister has allocated some serious, significant extra funding for cybersecurity. But, you know, let's ask an IT expert for the real answer to that question.
All right. But how does Australia's cybersecurity laws and systems compare with other Western nations?
Look, pretty well. And I guess that leads into one of the general themes I'd like to make clear, and it's only my view, but in my view, that this is more of an individual and business responsibility type issue than it is a government issue.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean the government shouldn't play an enormous role, but if you were to say a percentage, I'd be saying, look, this is sort of 60-65% the private sector's responsibility and the individual's responsibility, 45% the other side.
Yeah,
the
makes
government.
sense.
35, can't do maths.
Don't worry, neither can I. No, well, that does make sense. I think my personal opinion is if it is your company, then you should be responsible for your own company's
Yep, that's
security.
right.
It just makes sense. Which is a lot of people, like, how does it transfer? Someone's got our data. How is that going to affect us personally?
Again, literally, $1 million question plus, because cybersecurity experts and everybody looking at this from a general consumer and business perspective are realising fast that we don't actually know the full extent to the answer to that
That's
question.
scary.
And that's quite scary. I think that's the scariest part. But immediately and already, the amount of scams, the phishing, you name it, that goes on every day, the number of attacks.
I'm scared of clicking on any email that gets sent to me now.
So let's use that as an example. Let's just say that understandable and I think sensible fear is there. What you have to do is delegate as much of this risk to the best IT people you can find or afford. Now, for a law firm like HHG, you can imagine, I mean, wow, the reputational and individual costs if our data got breached.
Yeah.
Huge. I don't even want to think about it. But as a result, we have a standing directive to our external IT guys. Whatever the latest tech is, whatever it costs, put it in place, like rolling brief. For all businesses, that's the way to do it. It doesn't need to be that expensive if your business is small, but delegate that risk, big one.
And with the federal government's response to the recent attacks and hacks, do you think it's been reasonable? Do you think they could have done better? Or, again, is it up to the company?
I think we are, well, the stats, the research, everybody's opinions who know more about this than me conclusively indicate that we are, as a country, as a government, doing as well as we can. Our laws are as good as any. The government's spending more money in this federal budget on this issue. But at the end of the day, was their approach, say, to the immediate Optus announcement spot on? No. Everybody was embarrassed there. Is a Labor government more likely than a Liberal government to be expected to fully fund all the solutions? Probably.
Why is that?
Well, they stand for a more, I don't want to use the word socialist, that's too inflammatory, but I just did. But it's literally left-leaning politics. So there is, and I'm not criticising it, it's a stated fact, it's a more of a philosophical leaning to the government supporting and providing a bigger, stronger welfare state than, say, right-leaning Liberal Party politics would.
Sure.
The Libs would be saying this is, very largely an individual and business problem, not ours, but we will back you. I'm a bit worried the Labor government might not get that right, but so far, so good. Yep.
So what do we do then to, I guess, feel secure that our information is secure when people are asking, like, I recently didn't download an app because I wasn't satisfied with the security and all the data they were going to be keeping. What can we do then to, I guess, ease our minds? Because sometimes you're going to have to sign up things and give your details.
Let's break that down into small to medium-sized businesses. The large businesses have got it under control. Well, so we thought.
Yes.
But they've got the money to do whatever. So small business, and then let's answer that from the individual's perspective.
Sure.
Mums and dads, all of us with our private email accounts, for example. Businesses do need to, as I say, I'm just going to keep saying this, delegate the risk, bring experts in, follow their advice, have a paper trail. If it all goes wrong, they're going to be insured, and that could help because you need to take, under new laws now, all reasonable steps to stave off the damage from a cybersecurity attack.
Sure.
You can't just say, oh, it happened, sorry about that. You can be in all sorts of legal trouble now, and that's quite new, and I think, personally, not bad.
Yeah.
All you've got to do is you did your best, in effect.
Yeah.
But most businesses, small ones out there, aren't doing their best. We can see that. Delegate the risk and train your staff every day now that whatever email, whatever text, whatever website you visit, there is latent risk. So be careful. Don't open anything that looks suspicious.
Yeah.
But the stuff that's delegated off, by the way, make that really simple, it means that they're installing spam filters and a whole raft of other virus detection technology that is not stock standard. You can't get it on Play Store. But when that's in place, what you should end up with in your inbox is safe.
Yeah.
For the individual, you need a similar but cheaper and completely, pro forma type of the same thing. And people don't realise this is out there.
Yeah, no, I don't think that.
No.
It's not something, I hadn't thought about anyone going into my personal like emails or whatever and hacking me. Yeah. It's more about me giving the information to the third party and them being hacked.
And it's both.
Yeah.
So either way, look, quick point for the individual on the whole private sending off of information, clicking on I agree and privacy deed. This all goes back to setting up the tech right, but it also goes back to changing your passwords every month, to not opening anything that you just don't know where it's from.
I just think of changing passwords every month.
Yeah.
I was like, it's a hassle. How do you remember it? Because you can't write it down.
Yep.
So it seems like
it's a hassle.
I think a lot of people are not doing that.
And it's about to become a bigger and bigger issue. Most businesses who are doing this right have already employed things like two-factor authentication. So to log on, you've got to go through 2 stages, not just the one. But there's even more passwords and numbers involved every time. The list of passwords is enormous. When you're buying online, use a separate credit card.
Yep.
I mean, use PayPal and things like that for starters, but
doing something right. Thank you, Tick.
Get a little credit
PayPal.
card. Credit card with a $300-400 limit.
Yeah.
That's the only one that you use for online shopping.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
I think my husband would be very happy if there was a $300 to $400
Yeah, he'll just
limit
get
as
rid
well.
of the other one.
Yeah.
Don't blame me for that one. But I'd also just say this. Don't put up with the amount of spam and junk coming into your Google account every day. You don't have to. Mm-hmm. There literally are cheap or free apps online. Buy one or download one to filter out what looks like obvious junk.
Yeah.
And so the free stuff will pick, the worst of it. Download products like Total AV so that your phone, for example, your laptop, everything is constantly being scanned for attacks.
Sure.
That's a personal device. It's your responsibility to make sure it doesn't get infected, particularly if you're using it for work as well.
Yeah. Don't
find yourself in trouble there. Total AV is a good one. Get all your passwords locked up in other free apps like Norton Security. And just don't sign up to anything that looks dodgy.
That's great advice. Now, I've got a list of things that I need to go and do. But thank you so much for joining us, Simon.
It's been hard to distill any common sense into such a complex argument, but I hope it's been of some use.
I am sure it has. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Table Talk. If you want to catch any more, then head to our website, 985.com. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.